This is breaking news from RTV6, working for you.
That breaking news, there is a verdict in the case of Alyssa Shepard.
She is the woman accused of hitting and killing 3 kids as they tried to get on a school bus last year in Fulton County.
RTV6's Megan Sanctorum is live at the courthouse with the very latest for us tonight. Megan.
Well, just minutes ago, a jury came back and announced that they found Alyssa Shepard guilty on all 5 counts, 3 of those being reckless homicide. Now, here's some video from that scene of the crash when it happened. This was last October. We were in the courtroom as the jury read their verdict. There was a lot of emotion. We heard audible gasps and sighs of people saying yes when the jury announced that she was found guilty. Right now, we're outside the courthouse. Family is expected to come out any moment here now, so we're going to step aside so we can talk to them and get their reaction to this verdict. However, one other thing we did learn today is that sentencing will be on December 18th at 1 o'clock. Reporting live, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
Megan, thank you for that late-breaking development tonight. RTV6 is working for you, bringing attention to a major safety concern that neighbors share in Hamilton County.
They say drivers are using their Carmel Street as a detour for nearby construction and putting kids at risk. RTV6's Nicole Griffin is working tonight to get answers about what is being done to make it safer.
Work is underway to build a new roundabout here at the intersection of Main Street and Guilford Road in Carmel. And as that happens, drivers are now using a nearby neighborhood to cut through to get over to Carmel Middle School. People who live there say it's causing a safety concern. That is because these drivers are speeding down their street.
And it's not just like teenage kids or something like that. It's adults driving really fast.
Susie Kennedy lives off Emerson Road in Carmel. She says speeding has been an issue for years in her neighborhood, especially during the morning and evening commute. But as Main Street and Guilford Road remain closed for construction, detour signs lead drivers to use Emerson to get to Carmel Middle School. And Kennedy says that means more traffic and more people speeding down her road.
I mean, the speed limit on this street is only 15 or 20, and people drive down the street 40, 50. I've seen people going 60.
It's almost like a racetrack for the 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening.
The city put in this temporary speed hump on Emerson, hoping it will slow down the traffic. Carmel police say they are also patrolling the area. Police say changing a daily routine due to construction can be challenging. They are encouraging drivers to use caution driving through neighborhoods that are not used to heavy traffic and make sure to give yourself extra time to navigate the detour routes. Working for you in Carmel, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
Nicole, thank you. And the city of Carmel says this neighborhood used to have speed bumps, but the city was petitioned to remove them in 2006 because they were a nuisance. Some neighbors believe they are still needed, but they hope traffic goes back to normal once construction ends on the roundabout by the end of the year.
New developments. Metro Police now say a second vehicle was involved in a deadly hit and run on the south side. Investigators are looking for a silver or gray 2002 to 2009 GMC Envoy with damage to the passenger side headlight and bumper area. The Envoy also has what appears to be a circular sticker on the lower right portion of the back window. Police said the Envoy was traveling south on Madison Avenue just before 6 o'clock this morning when it struck a man walking in the left travel lane, knocking him onto the roadway. Moments later, the pedestrian was struck again by an Indigo bus. The victim has been identified as 60-year-old Bobby Watkins. If you have any information on the SUV, call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS.
Right now, Delaware County authorities are searching for a convicted murderer who slipped his ankle monitor and escaped from home detention. Jamie Adams has been on the run since October 3rd. He was on home detention for possessing meth, but police say he has a long criminal history, including a murder conviction for which he served 24 years of a 60-year sentence. Officials say if you see Adams, do not approach him. Call 911 immediately.
And perfect timing here, just a few minutes after 7 o'clock to see this. The sun about ready to set, and what a beautiful evening. Just some high, thin cirrus clouds. Temperatures overnight tonight will still be cool, but not as cold as this morning. 61 in Greenfield, 59 in Plainfield right now, right in the heart of Johnson County, 56 in Greenwood. The coolest temperatures will be off to our east overnight. Not ruling out some light patchy fog in spots, but in general, we should be around down to 40 degrees first thing in the morning. Here are the headlines tonight. You've got that light wind that will allow, with clear skies, for the coldest air to settle to ground level. Off to the east is the core of the cold air leaving the Hoosier State. In progress now, high school football games by the time we get to 9 o'clock down to 52. We'll talk about weekend changes coming up.
Now to the new developments in Washington's intensifying impeachment battle. The White House's defense on shaky ground after President Trump's chief of staff seemed to confirm the allegation at the core of the inquiry against him.
And now one Republican on Capitol Hill says he is not ruling out Trump's impeachment. ABC's Monica Sarabdi is in Washington with more.
Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney's bombshell admission sending a whirlwind through Washington.
Get over it. There's going to be political influence in foreign policy.
House Democrats leading the impeachment probe against the president, quickly pouncing on Mulvaney's confirmation of a quid pro quo with Ukraine. Mulvaney telling reporters that one of the reasons the president ordered military aid withheld from Ukraine was to pressure the country's president to investigate Democrats and the 2016 election.
Things have just gone from very, very bad to much, much worse.
Hours after the briefing, Mulvaney sent out a statement claiming his words were misconstrued despite this exchange with ABC's John Carl.
To be clear, what you just described is a quid pro quo. It is funding will not flow unless the investigation into the Democratic server happens as well.
We do that all the time with foreign policy.
On CNN, Republican Congressman Francis Rooney offering a scathing criticism of Mulvaney's comments and saying he refuses to rule out impeachment.
Whatever might have been gray and unclear before is certainly quite clear right now.
While House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy came to Mulvaney's defense.
I think Mick Mulvaney clarified his statement to be very clear. I take Mick Mulvaney at his word for clarification.
Meanwhile, the fallout unfolding as the president confirmed Secretary of Energy Rick Perry, a main player in the administration's dealings with Ukraine, is resigning. The reason for now, unclear.
Rick has done a fantastic job at energy, but it was time.
The White House has made it clear to Democrats that they will not participate in the impeachment inquiry against President Trump. Nevertheless, both Mulvaney and Perry face an end-of-the-day deadline to comply with a House subpoena for documents related to Ukraine. Monica Sarabdi, ABC News, Washington.
It took 18 years, but officials have identified another victim of the September 11th attacks in New York. The victim was a man whose remains were recovered at the World Trade Center in Lower Manhattan in 2001. Officials used improved DNA technique to identify him. His family has asked that his name not be shared. He is the third victim to be identified this year. In all, 2,977 people were killed in the attacks on New York City and Washington, D.C., and outside Shanksville, Pennsylvania. More than 1,100 of those victims remain unidentified.
Coming up here on RTV6, a warning from Samsung about 2 new phones, the flaw that may be putting some customers at risk.
And could it happen here? Teachers in the biggest school district in the Midwest continue to strike. The demands they're making next.
This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Chicago Public Schools classes were canceled once again today as the city's teachers union strike continues into the weekend. 26,000 teachers and 8,000 support staff workers are officially on strike. Teachers picketed at Chicago schools across the city this week, demanding better conditions like smaller class sizes and more competitive pay. Today, teachers protesting outside Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot's house were greeted by a table with coffee and donuts and a note that read, "I hear you." Striking teachers left the reply, smaller class sizes, not donuts. We've all heard of hide and seek, but what about hide and steal?
Yeah, that's what Georgia investigators say a man did inside a Costco store near Atlanta. This is how the heist went down. Investigators say the man walked inside the store, cased it out, and then left. Surveillance video shows that same man returned a few hours later and did something beyond brazen. He hid behind a large display sign inside the store for nearly 5 hours. He waited then for the store to clear out and close up. Video shows how the man eventually came out of hiding. He smashed a glass display case and grabbed more than $13,000 worth of jewelry.
How did he get away with it? I guess nobody, oh my goodness.
It is a big store, and he found a spot in the store that he could conceal himself.
Deputies believe surveillance cameras from a nearby theater captured the car the man drove to the Costco. They are now actively searching for that vehicle. Some troubling news for low-income urban communities. Those areas are at a greater risk to be exposed to harmful, more aggressive mosquitoes. That's according to new research from the Cary Institute of Ecosystem Studies. The study found that there are more invasive species of mosquitoes in low-income areas, such as tiger mosquitoes. Researchers say their larger wingspan and body size can make it easier for those mosquitoes to transmit diseases. Mosquitoes thrive in areas with more abandoned buildings and more garbage left out.
Coming up, baby powder under recall due to chemical contamination. What parents need to know.
And it's a beautiful, quiet Friday night right now. We'll talk about weekend changes and our threat for Monday thunderstorms coming up.
Drive at Honda of Fishers.
Johnson & Johnson is recalling some of its baby powder after it was found to be contaminated with asbestos. The Food and Drug Administration discovered the asbestos in a bottle of powder purchased online. In response, Johnson & Johnson issued a voluntary recall for one lot of its powder today. The affected bottles were produced and shipped last year. Asbestos is a naturally occurring mineral that is found close to the mines used to gather talc. Now, Johnson & Johnson runs the website factsabouttalc.com, which insists the talc it uses is safe. The company has lost several multi-million-dollar court cases claiming asbestos in its talcum powder causes cancer. Samsung is raising a red flag about the new Galaxy 10 and Note 10. The company says someone else may be able to unlock your phone. The smartphones can be fooled by residue left by fingers on a screen protector. The company wants users to remove screen protectors until they can fix the problem. Samsung thinks the screen protectors make the sensor malfunction. They say a software update will fix this issue. And here's something to consider when buying Halloween candy this year. Zoos and conservation groups are asking you to pick sustainable treats. The difference is in the kind of palm oil used in the candy. Depending on how it's made, palm oil can have devastating effects on the rainforest and endangered animal populations. Luckily, some brands use certified sustainable palm oil, including Hershey's, which makes those coveted Reese's peanut butter cups. Other sustainable brands include Mars, Lay's, and Lindt.
Well, your mother may have been wrong about one thing. Perhaps it's not always better to eat breakfast before leaving the house, especially if your first stop is the gym. British researchers found men who exercised on an empty stomach burned more fat than those who ate breakfast first. The reason is because without any fuel from food, your body has to use stored carbohydrates for energy. Those are depleted quickly, forcing your body to then use fat. Burning that fat helped make the men's muscles more responsive to insulin, which reduces the risk of heart disease and diabetes. One thing it did not do, though, was result in any weight loss. Exercising on an empty stomach appears to make you healthier, but not skinnier. An historic first day today in space. The first all-female spacewalk took place when NASA astronauts Christina Koch and Jessica Meir left the International Space Station. They replaced a battery unit. The pair has been training together for the last 6 years. Koch arrived at the station on March 14th and will stay there until February 20th, making her time at the station the longest ever single space flight by a woman. Meir will spend more than 6 months on board. There's a third woman involved in this historic mission. NASA's Stephanie Wilson was the crew's chief communicator on the ground.
There's something magnetic about watching that.
Watching
right?
them work up there,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, the view's incredible. And of course, we always tell you when the space station's going to do one of those nice flyovers.
And it just did one not too long ago, about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, it's fairly common. The problem is how far above the horizon, whether we can see it and how quickly it passes. So maybe 3 decades have passed quickly in your mind since the earliest snowfall on record in Indianapolis. I had only been here a couple months. I think I got the forecast right on this one, Mark.
Yeah, you did.
9 inches of snow, 18th, 19th, and 20th, and it was basically an event for everything but the streets. Not much plowing had to be done as the ground temperatures were fairly warm. I want to point this out. National weather story then. Tropical storm Nestor moving quickly to the northeast. That quick speed will move it along and not create huge problems as far as excessive rainfall. Low pressure to the north and west. This is Monday now. We're skipping Saturday and Sunday for a second. I'll get back to that, but early next week, the threat for thunderstorms will increase. We'll have a strong south wind independent of any thunderstorms. That'll get our temperatures 70 or a little above, depending on how the first part of the day goes. If we hold on to showers through the day, don't really warm up much, that would limit, I think, severe weather potential later in the day. Something we'll talk more about as we go through the weekend. You can still see a little reflection there off of White River. and a nice glow on the western horizon. Temperatures well above average next couple of days, really into and through Monday. Then temperatures will fall off quickly behind the cold front and put temperatures back in the 50s for highs by Tuesday. Tomorrow and Sunday, upper 60s to low 70s. I think we'll see clouds increase in the afternoon tomorrow. The chance for showers, though, is minimal. Homecoming game up in Ball State. Temperature 61 in Muncie at noon. A south wind through the day and increasing clouds. Temperatures at upper 60s. The gray here represents the cloud cover that increases, but again, any rain chance is minimal. And there are your temperatures expected with a light wind. Sunday, a little bit warmer for all of us. Temperature should hit 70 or above. Then as we get to Monday, lower 70s with the threat for thunderstorms increasing as we go into the late afternoon and evening hours. A few may be severe. Noticeably cooler but dry Tuesday, 58. Then we're back into the 60s, low to mid 60s with a dry Wednesday and Thursday. Chance of showers a week from today. We've got to take advantage of these weekends where temperatures are still above average.
That's right, because we could have had snow.
You're on it.
30
on the
years
bright
ago.
side.
Right. Coming up here, how a personal loss is inspiring a woman to honor heroes who fought for their country.
In Test Walk at the Good Feet store.
Breaking news tonight, just minutes ago, Alyssa Shepard was found guilty on all counts after she hit and killed 3 children who were trying to board a school bus in Fulton County last year. In October of 2018, Shepard hit 6-year-old twins Mason Xavier Ingle and their 9-year-old sister Olivia Stahl as they were about to board a school bus in Rochester, Indiana. Those children died. Police and prosecutors say Shepard drove past a school bus stop arm. Shepard was charged with 3 counts of reckless homicide, 1 count of passing a school bus causing injury, and 1 count of criminal recklessness resulting in serious bodily injury. Again, a jury just found her guilty on all of those counts. Sentencing is now set for December 18th.
The daughter of a World War II veteran is turning her grief over his death into a passion project honoring her dad and other military heroes. Guy Beach has this story.
I miss him a lot. It's hard. Without him.
Losing a parent can be crushing. When Dawn Nabrolowski lost her father, it broke her heart.
I was a daddy's girl. I'm the only child, so when he passed, it hit me really hard.
Dawn's dad was a sharpshooter with the U.S. Army.
This is him right here.
To help herself heal, Dawn went into her dad's garage and started using his tools.
It's the best form of therapy that is helping me.
And started turning old wooden pallets into American flags.
It takes probably about an hour and a half, and I paint them by hand. I feel like, in a way, it's honoring my father.
And at the same time, honoring the lives of men that fought for this country. Dawn sells these flags and donates that money here to Forest Home Cemetery to buy headstones for Civil War soldiers who have unmarked graves.
His birthday's here in 1842 and his died unfortunately here in Milwaukee in 1864. Well, we don't leave anyone behind, even if they're gone.
Thomas Ludka is a military veteran. Together, he and Margaret Barras worked together to find unmarked graves.
Well, he is gone since April of 1900 with no headstone. That's a long time to wait for being honored for your service. It is so worth it because then our Civil War veterans have the honor that they have always deserved and went all these years without.
The headstones are free but cost $175 to install. Money they say is well worth it.
A man like him helped destroy slavery, just a common, everyday soldier. His life meant something. His service meant something. It should not be forgotten.
Dawn still thinks of her father as she paints pallets.
These people have all purchased flags so far.
So far, she sold 33 flags, raising enough money to buy 13 headstones.
And I feel like this is just a very small thing I can do to give back.
Dawn's big goal is to raise enough money to buy every unmarked grave a headstone.
I do it all in my dad's garage, and I use his tools. So it's kind of like he's here with me, helping me.
I'm Kai Beach reporting.
Jimmy and Rosalind Carter are now officially the longest married presidential couple. The Carter Center celebrated the milestone this week when the couple bested the record previously held by the late George H.W. Bush and Barbara Bush. The Carters have now been married 73 years. That's 26,766 days and counting. President Carter is now 95. The former First Lady is 92, and their love story, it's still going strong.
That is something to admire.
Yeah, it is.
I think it was last summer he was up in South Bend for Habitat for Humanity and building homes, and David Letterman as well. How's my memory?
It's doing very, very well.
Proud of you, Kevin.
Glad to see the Carters doing well as well. Thanks for joining us here on RTV6 News at 7.
We'll be back at 11. We'll see you then.